start with my colleague Alan Owino of K24.
Okay, well, when you look at the issues surrounding the preparations for elections, this is majorly handled by the commission, which is IBC. And if we remember back in 2017, former Prime Minister, you were in a very precarious situation, especially with your party, and that particular election was nullified. But fast forward to 2022, the very same referee who was actually reffing that particular match is still at the very helm of that particular commission going to conduct this year's election. So my question is, what have you done within the 5-year period to see to it that you have enough confidence for him to ref this very same match this year?
Well, I have expressed sometimes my misgivings before, and I've said that I want to be convinced that preparations have been done that are above board to ensure a free and fair electoral process. I did, on the day we were presenting our papers to the Commission, I presented them with a letter with 10 questions which I wanted them to answer. They have partly answered those questions, but there are some other concerns which have not been satisfactorily dealt with. But I would say that this is premature today because we are having a meeting tomorrow with the IBC, and I will be raising some of these questions there tomorrow. And that's when I will be satisfied or dissatisfied, satisfied that they are really prepared and ready for an election which is free and fair or not. So I would actually withhold my further comment on this issue. Because
I would like to make an addition without going into matters that will be discussed tomorrow. Yeah. And this is directly to fellow Kenyans, that we each have a responsibility to make the election free and fair and also credible. The polling clerk, the presiding officer, the returning officer, and everybody involved in the electoral process, including candidates, supporters, security agencies. We all have a role to play. If each one of us stood up for our country, Kenya, then we would not have complaints in elections. Chebukati and its team sitting at anniversary towers, if everybody else did their work, they would not, even if they wanted, be able to interfere or cause any malpractice. So this is a responsibility we must take jointly. And I want to say that I personally sought to prosecute privately 3 electoral officials arising from the malpractices in Kirinyaga in 2017. Yeah. Although the court did not allow the private prosecution, and one party official, if I may add, I had gone to court against 4. An appeal is pending. Whether I'll prosecute it or not is another issue. But this is to say to everybody, don't hide behind an institution. When you do wrong, because it's like declaring war against Kenya, Kenyans can come for you. Our constitution does allow it. So let us all do our best, even as we put Chebukati and his team to task tomorrow.
Indeed.
Is there a particular template, Honorable Odinga, that you have for what constitutes a credible election? Is there a template? What are your immediate concerns? I've seen issues raised on the complementary voter register at the polling stations. Are there what you would say irreducible minimums as you go to this election in terms of how IEBC manages it?
Well, you know, there are a lot of factors that are contributory to a free and fair electoral process. The preparations towards it, first was recruitment of the staff who are going to conduct the elections themselves. Has it been done in a transparent manner, in a manner that does not favor anybody and so on? Secondly, the procurement of the equipment that are going to be used in the election process. Here you have got, right now, the electronic or the ICT equipment. How was it procured? And how is it prepared? And who was involved? And how has it been tested that is going to work and is not going to fail? Then the printing of ballot papers. Who is printing these ballot papers? How was the contract itself procured? Where is the guarantee that this printer has not printed some extra ballot papers which can be used to do stuffing, as you know, what has happened in the past, okay? Then the issue of polling stations. Where are they and how are they connected in terms, you know, the cover of 3G or 4G in the country? Which are the stations which are not covered, and what measures have I been taken to ensure that result from those other ones are actually also made in time? And then the actual polling itself, what arrangements? Like you've got that backup you're talking about, which has become contentious. That IBC is insisting that you don't need a manual register. And people are saying that there's no harm in having a manual register as a counter check, so that when somebody comes and is identified electronically, you also delete his name on the register. That gives you the number. Eventually you can, from the numbers which you have crossed, know how many people have gone through that polling station. So that eventually, when wrong results come out, if 100 people voted, but then eventually 200 are announced, you can counter-check from that register to confirm that indeed the number which has come out is the number which voted here. They're saying they don't want to see that. The harm that causes to them, nobody knows. That is their own issue. Mm-hmm. So basically, the overall preparation of the election in that manner, and then the security, where, you know, who is going to provide security so that voters don't get harassed by some other goons, because other opponents can hire goons to block opponents from going to vote. Mm-hmm. Those who are going to be in charge of security neutral enough to ensure that everybody is facilitated to cast his or her vote without coercion or interference. Okay? Then counting and that on the polling day. Because what we have had is, not that we have not had agents in some areas. There are some areas where the agents are actually given two options: to agree to cooperate and take the money and disappear, or beaten up and thrown out, so that you don't have an agent there. See? Where is the guarantee that this is not? Because the police are also complicit there. And that's why you usually have these complaints. And then you have, you know, the electronic system, where, you know, you are identified through your biometrics and the irises, and then you are allowed to go and vote. Eventually, the results are counted, recorded, and then the presiding officer is supposed to, once the agents have signed, press the button and transmit, and it goes through a server in the cloud. that particular case in 2017, it was going through a server which was in Spain or in France. And then from there, it was coming to the server at Bomas. But then there is a logarithm that they put in which was capturing the result before they entered the server at Bomas. So we had situations where our agents in the stations are giving us different results from the results that are being announced. Then you had two parallel lines running like this, 54, 44. 54, 44. I lost with 44, 54. My governor in Nairobi, 54, 44. In Kajiado, 54, 44. In Garissa, 54, 44. In all over where they lost, that was what it was.
Mheshimiwa, as we conclude the conversation, your competition has actually challenged you many times publicly. William Ruto saying, should he lose his election, he's prepared to concede defeat. Are you prepared to make the same commitment to the country?
Definitely. Definitely. I'm the sportsman between me and him. And I know that asiyokubali kushindwa sio mshindani. So I would easily accept defeat and congratulate the winner.